Hi there, my name is Molly Gazay, and I am your host for a Living Album podcast. I am so freaking excited to have you guys here. First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spending your time with us. This episode 1, the first of 2024, Happy New Year, is going to be with Maria Lane. She is an amazing singer-songwriter and performer here in New York. She's done musicals and performs live all the time with her original music. So she's going to be talking to us about her journey and give some guidance to those who are looking to do live performances and a few other little things. So if you like this episode, you like this podcast, please go ahead and push the subscribe button and like this episode and let me know what you think. I'm really excited to share this journey with you. I am also a singer-songwriter myself, and the whole reason I started this podcast was because I was releasing my music and thought, you know what? I'd rather share it with other people and have conversations, not only about my music, but also about their music or what they do. So I hope that you get some value out of it. This month's song is Traveler's Lament, and the song will be released at the end of the month. So if you would like to listen to it or you want to get notified about it, you can go ahead and go onto Spotify, type in Molly Gazay, and it'll be right there at the end of the month. I am really excited to share it with you. And without further ado, let's go to the episode. I am so happy to see you. It has been so freaking long.
I know, I'm so happy to see you too.
I feel like we saw each other so much during the summer, and then as soon as like the fall hit, it was just like, what happened? Where'd she go?
I know. I think I saw you like in the spring or like maybe summer.
Yeah, I went and saw you perform in the summer, and then I think we were hanging out a lot in the spring, and then the fall hit, and it was just like everything else was happening, and it's been crazy. But it's so good to see you, and I'm so happy to have you as my first guest on a Living Album podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here and to do this with you.
Same. I love your music, and I love how we met doing a musical and like a rock musical, right?
Yeah, no, that was amazing.
It was super fun. So
that was my first New York City professional gig, so I actually felt like an actor in New York City.
Yeah, so for those listening who don't know, Marie and I met doing a musical called Hooked in Manhattan. It was a staged play, like a staged musical. So it wasn't like a full on thing, but it was definitely like very professionally done for a staged musical. And Maria played a great character. We had a lot of fun. And then, we found out that we were both singer-songwriters, and we're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, I think I told you, I feel like you're like the older version of me.
I think you did.
Even though you're young. Like, you look young, but I just mean like, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a few years older than you. I'm definitely your big sister.
Yes.
And I love it. So I would love to hear your review on Traveler's Lament. I should probably say that. So for people because this is the first episode, you don't know. Shouldn't jump the gun here. So listeners, this podcast was created so that I could release my music. So I have a song of the month every month. And this month it's Traveler's Lament. And then I have a guest on, like the amazing Maria Lane. And they come on and they give the review of the song before it's released. And then you get to hear the song at the end of the month. In conjunction with that, you also get to hear other people's amazing music if they're singer-songwriters like Maria Lane, and we're going to talk about her song later called Carrie White, which I'm so excited about. And if they are other types of performers, you will get to hear what they do, and then hopefully we can all learn something from each other and go share each other's music and just have a good freaking time.
was just like, wow, like this is so different from your other stuff. And the production feels a little bit different, which I feel like is always exciting when you hear the production kind of go a different way than what you're used to. Cause I think that like a lot of us want everything to sound kind of different as we're putting new stuff out. Cause like obviously it's like each piece we put out is a different version of ourselves, which is, I'm not sure if that's how you feel, but that's how I feel. I'm like, this is like a time capsule from when I was 25. Now I'm,
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, so I felt like the song gave me like really like, I always like compare songs to like seasons and months for some reason, or like colors. But it was giving like blue, and it was giving like September, October. Like I was like, this would definitely be in a horror movie, like an 80s horror movie, I think. Like maybe suspenseful, maybe not a slasher, but maybe like a suspenseful, like horror movie with a great story.
Ooh, I love
I
that.
can even see it in the credits. And I feel like that's a big thing when someone tells you that your song could be in the credits. Like that's like that's a goal of mine personally. It was giving me like credits vibes or like a montage in the movie. And I think TV show, I would say something like Stranger Things or something in that like 80s time period world, like very spooky.
I love that. You were like saying all my favorite keywords: Stranger Things, 80s, spooky.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so great to hear.
Yeah. And my elevator pitch, if I were to tell someone like you have to listen to the song and here's why, I would be like, if you like the month October and you like all things spooky and you like Kate Bush, because it was kind of giving me some Kate Bush vibes, then I think you would really vibe with the song. And then also for a music video, you would definitely be in a forest. Like it's giving like witchy vibes, but like running through the forest in some like beautiful gown. Maybe you're holding like one of those like old fashioned, what are they called? Lanterns?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you were doing this. I was like, a wand, a spoon? Like, what is she holding?
It could be a wand. It could be kind of like mystical.
But I could see the lantern, I could see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. And I thought the lyrics were great. I love the way you ended the song. I was really excited because it was so different from other stuff you've put out. And it was just really exciting. And I could tell it's like very personal, but like it was very story driven. And I love story driven songs.
Me too. I mean, Carrie White is a great example of that.
Oh, thank you.
It's very storytelling. Yeah, no, I love that. And I'm glad that you got that. Yeah, it is a very different sound than the stuff that I have, but it's funny because this was the first song I ever wrote.
Oh, it was. Oh my gosh. Wait, how old were you when you wrote it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
like
remember.
Young?
I would say not super young, but I was like in my mid 20s, I think.
Okay.
I first started playing music in San Francisco when I first moved there. And I think I was in my early to mid 20s when I first moved there, and then started playing music and went to the Hotel Utah. And I don't remember why I went. Maybe one of my friends could recall this or remind me, but I inherited this like Casio piano, and I think actually the one behind me for those who are watching this on YouTube.
Amazing.
And I didn't know how to use a disdain pedal at all. I didn't have one. And I didn't even know they existed or what they were for. And I don't know. I was like, I'm going to go play this song. And it didn't have that ending at the beginning, like when I first played it, and I got hooked. So it's really fun to hear you say that it's so different from everything else that I've done, because it was the simplest piano that I've ever written in comparison to like all the other stuff that I started writing, which was like, I was up against all these like really amazing musicians. And so I got really inspired to like make these really complicated piano things. And not like everything I do is very complicated, but it just made me go, okay, I can't just go do 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 do. Right. But and that's what I was doing. But yeah, so that's it's interesting that you found that so different, because it really is like the first thing I wrote.
That's so cool. Like It's crazy too when you realize how old a song is, and then you're like, okay, now I'm ready to like make it into something and give it to everybody and let them have it. Because it's like, I don't know if your relationship with the song has changed a little bit. Because I think once you release something into the ether, you're just like, okay, like this is so personal about me, but now I'm going to give this to everybody else to feel how they feel and if they need the song too, you know?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny you say that because, like, as I was re-listening to my song, and I think it's really cool because I think both of our songs are very much about growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I re-listened to this song, I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize how vulnerable and like all the burning emotions for like this idea of home being so prevalent. And I realized how much of a growing up story it is, and remembering to have those moments of recentering. And I feel like as we go on our journeys, as we grow up, we always come back to that moment to breathe. And you have to, because you have to reflect. And so as I was listening to the song, I was like, oh, the first half is like my first part of the journey. The breathe is the reset. The second part is now I'm collecting people to go on that journey with me. And then when I was in the studio, we needed an ending and I didn't have one. And so I wrote that ending. So that ending is actually where I'm singing Take It Away with the Morning, Sugar, Dance It Away. All of that actually came in at the end, which almost feels like the journey continuing now, but in that centered breathe space. And that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, and I totally feel that too, because it's kind of like you're like relief at the end.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you don't know where it's going, but I think we're so like controlling sometimes of like the journey. It's like, oh, at least for me, I was very controlling of the journey. I was like, it has to go like this, and then I had to recenter. Then it has to go like this, but I'm now collecting people to bring with me, and that's great. And then at the end, it's like, oh wait, I literally have no control. So why not just enjoy those moments of joy, because we don't know when we're going to get them next, because the next chapter could be, who knows?
That's so true. I have such a weird relationship with joy. Like it's not an emotion I feel a lot. Like which is probably why you and I write these like dark, sad songs. I did want to ask you though, as an actor, do you find that you really like specificity? You know, when our musical theater brain is probably just like, oh yeah, like if you say a word again, it's because it means something different the second time. Like, do you feel like when you're writing, sometimes that shows up in your writing, like that musical theater, like I guess like analogy kind of like the storytelling aspect?
Completely separated them. And it hasn't been until I got back into comedy in 2023 that I really started to see the patterns. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Like, wow. Okay. And like, I don't know about you, but when I'm writing a song, I'm not analyzing what I'm writing. I'm putting it down. I'm trying to figure out what the words that are going to make the most sense emotionally to me work. And then on the flip side, when I've been getting into comedy, you have to look for that, right? Like you have to look for the 1, 2, 3, you know, the threes, the reversals, the punchline, like the moments for silence, the moments for stillness. So it's interesting, like listening to my music now that I've been doing all the comedy stuff. And I go, oh, I'm doing it subconsciously in my music, but I had to like analytically see it for acting, which I guess is like, it can be less emotional, but they're both very emotional. I guess like just music for me is more personal. So it feels easier to be that way. How about you? Like, how do you feel?
And I definitely think, I mean, what's interesting is I don't know if I would be a good songwriter if I wasn't an actor also, because I feel like we really see into the lens of a character and what they're going through. And I personally, my favorite artists and my favorite songs are specificity. Like there might be a weird lyric. Like for example, like Phoebe Bridgers has like a lyric about like waiting like a dog with a bird at the door in one of her songs. And I remember when I first heard that song and I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And then I was just like, oh, it's like specific to her. Like it's like a metaphor for like her situation. And I don't know. I think it's really, really cool when people have specific memories or specific lines in their songs that are personal to them, because it might not be general to you, but general's kind of boring. And I really, like, let me know if you feel like a similar way.
I was just about to say, I 1,000% agree. Like, and that's why I think it's sometimes really hard to analyze someone's song, because it's like amazing because it's poetry, right? It is literally poetry to music. And you get to decide as the listener, like what that line means or what that bird, like, because when I hear like a dog with a bird in its mouth waiting at the door, it's like an offering of something, but not being received because the door is shut.
Yeah.
And you worked really hard to get that bird.
Yeah. Or she'll talk about like randomly, like, oh, I heard that Bowie song after he died or whatever. Like, it's just very like specific. And it's just like, I think it's really cool how songs are people's like journal entries about themselves.
Yeah.
Because if every song was like, everyone can relate to this, here's a general lyric about this, like what makes it stand out? Like, I feel like it's really cool when you find those lines of like kind of personality in the artist, like in their song. Like, I think Olivia Rodrigo also does that a lot in her music.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. There's so many amazing singers who do.
Yeah. But I do think like the whole theater brain thing, and the writing, I think that it's like the repetition, because I realize sometimes like I will write a lot of the same like lines because I'm like, well, it means something else now. But I did also learn like a good writing trick to like make a song kind of like, I guess have like a more cohesive pattern, is like having your first verse line start like the second verse line with it, but like change it a little bit, but it's still like I will, and then second verse, I will, blah, blah, blah. So it's like you're still carrying on the story, which is very musical theater, I think, kind of, because we look at how that stuff is written sometimes. But yeah, I just think it's interesting how, because sometimes I'll find singer-songwriters and I'm like, do they have a musical theater background? Because it kind of sounds like they do. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Most of the time I'm right, because you can hear it. You can hear it in how like emotive people are in their voices.
It's also diction, right? Like, I feel like I used to get, when I played, I haven't played live in a while. So, but I might get back into it. In 2024, maybe we should do some shows together.
Yes.
Like our music goes really well. So yeah.
Could absolutely set that up.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I used to get a lot of slack for that. Not in a bad way, but in a jokey way. It's like my music, some of my music comes off very musical theater, but like also not. So it's always been like a weird combination of the two. But I hear what you're saying, and it doesn't always fit into the world that people want. But for some reason, I gravitate mostly to that. Like, I love Sarah Bareilles because her music is very storyteller. So it works. Well, anyway, thank you so much for your review on Traveler's Lament.
Of course.
Really,
I have one more question for you.
Sure, let's go.
I love thinking about this.
Yeah.
If you were to do another version of the song and feature any artist of your choosing on it with you, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's
a hard question.
I'm gonna ask you that one too, man. It is a hard one. I think I'd want Amy Lee.
Oh yeah.
I would love to work with her so much. And I'm actually doing her as a character at UCB.
That's amazing.
Yeah, for my character thing. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But it's January 6th, guys. So whoever's watching and you're in New York, Chain Theater, baby. January 6th at 1 p.m. Saturday. It's the day before my birthday.
I'll mark it on my calendar.
It's going to be fun. I'm really excited. But yeah, I think I would want her in here because I love her voice and it's just amazing. So
yeah, that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I feel like she'd be really cool for this one. Thank you for asking. Oh my gosh, that was so great. And thank you for reviewing it. I'm really excited. Everyone, please go check out Traveler's Lament at the end of the month on January 31st. It's going to be on Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else that you can stream music. And go check out Carrie White, which we're talking about right now.
Be a good girl, mind your business. Don't talk to the other kids at school. Say your prayers now. Keep your head down. Hide your powers. Don't be the fool.
Because I freaking love this song.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I love your music. You know I do. But this one, like, I think what you were talking about with like that 80s nostalgic, haunting sound, it has that, and it has that like universal tone of like I think a lot of people go through when they're in junior high or high school. And my pitch for you is haunting nostalgia for a delirious time during the peak of adolescence that speaks to any generation.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love that.
Because it does. Like, I was listening to it going like, oh man, like I didn't feel that way necessarily in high school, but I felt that way in junior high. Like I was a homeschooled kid coming into like public education. It was not fun. Like I felt that was how I felt in junior high, like the constant picking on because my birthmark, and especially your lyrics in the second verse. Whoo, that hit hard with they taunt you in the locker room. They mock, they taunt you, a haunting realm where you can't escape. Their laughter like daggers. See, we both have daggers in our songs. Silent tears fall, unseen sorrow hidden from the light. You long for acceptance in a world so afraid, and still they won't even say your name. Holy fuck.
Yeah, the lyrics are heavy. I mean, I had just read the book for the first time, and I never read books in a day, but I read this book in a day. Because if anyone hasn't read Carrie, you need to read it. I understand why it was made into a movie and also a musical. Like she's just such a well-written character, and people think it's a horror movie. It's a tragedy. I mean, really, this girl's just getting like bullied, and she can't be herself, and her mom is like putting her in this like Catholic good girl box. Suddenly, she has her period, and now she's a bad person, and she has no idea what the hell is happening to her. It's just a very like sad story. And
who doesn't relate to that?
Well, yeah, school trauma is a whole other thing, right?
Getting your period.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. But I really wanted to paint the picture in the movie where they're mocking her because she just got her period. They're like, Carrie, period, plug it up, plug it up. I wanted to paint that in that second verse. Because my idea for the bridge was it's going to be the scene where she goes crazy and kills everyone. Like the blood's dumping on her. And it's like the suspense leading up to, oh, she thinks this is going to be like a prom night's promise. Like she was so excited. She was so excited to go to prom and to feel like a normal girl and like go with the cute boy that she has a crush on, only to get embarrassed. And then she kills everyone. You know what? She's not wrong for it. She's really not.
We here at A Living Album Podcast do not condone going ballistic at your prom, but no, I mean it really does work. And like I think that the way that you structure the song with like the really like aggressive piano and guitar playing during the verses, and then you drop into, which is again very funny because both our songs do this with like this repetitive like dun, 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 and then like dun, and then yeah, right, and then we both drop, and you drop into Carrie Y. And I love that because it's like this like urgency, and then it's like that centering, and I love how you said that it's her going ballistic because it's like that calm inside, but like chaos on the outside.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you noticed in the bridge, but we added little like special effects. Like you could hear like I sent this to my producer and I was like, can you find some kind of sound that makes it look like the electricity is about to blow up? Because like I would love to create that ambience for the bridge to like really signify like, oh shit, she's about to explode.
I
And so if you
literally have
listen,
it right here.
oh, you do?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Because I love your amp. And then I also loved that electricness in the bridge. And then right before the song starts, that like amp electricity. And then you have it like right before another verse too, I think.
You hear the bulb. What is it even called? Like it's like that bulb that makes that like horror movie sound, whatever. It's on the whole time. You hear it the whole song. It just might be like a little bit more faded in like the chorus and stuff. But I thought that was really, really cool. That was my producer's idea because I literally was like, I want it to sound like Insidious. I want it to sound like I found a clip from the movie because like the music in like the scenes between Carrie and her mom Margaret in the movie are like you hear like this piano that's like da 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 da, which I see where the musical got it from. I was like, I see what they did to get their music for the musical. But I was like, I just wanted to have this like 80s creepy, suspenseful vibe. And then like the thing you hear right after you hear the what instrument is it? Like the violin or whatever in the first like few seconds. And then you hear like the like that gave me Insidious vibes. I thought that was so cool.
It totally does.
So cool.
It does. Like I wrote that like it's very much across. I don't know if you know who Churches is.
Yeah.
It totally reminded me of Churches mixed with a little bit of Olivia Rodrigo and a little bit of a 70s vibe with like 80s nostalgia.
That's
and
cool.
like especially the beginning with like like I think it's a flute. It very much sounds it sounds like Nights in White Satin a little bit, but like an amped up like cocaine version.
That's cool.
Yeah, by the Moody Blues. I love that song. So when I heard that, I was like, ooh, it's giving me like that Pippin, like 70s rock that like bled into the 80s. And so you have like this really cool, like modern 80s, 70s mesh up. Like very, very cool. And like I said, I love the drive of the guitar picking and the piano rhythm that really gives that urgency. And like, obviously this could go into a Halloween movie. Very, very October vibes. But also has like a little springness to it. And I think that's like with the blood. I don't know. It's like the pagan Easter holiday. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I don't know why the blood on a woman and wearing white reminds me of like Easter, but it does. For the was it Copacalia? Is what it's called. The original time. Yeah, and like I said, any movie that this could take place in Halloween. I think it could even be in like a teen drama with a character that's similar to Carrie White. And this kind of being that theme of being an outcast. Yeah, so I don't think it can only stay in Halloween, but I think it could be like in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or it could be in I said, a CW teen drama where the girl has like, or not even the girl, but like the person has this like similarity. And also they don't have a TV show for Carrie, right?
They don't, but I did hear that there might be a new movie. They're looking at Hunter Schafer possibly for Carrie.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's like actually true. I mean, A24 needs to get their. I think A24 doing a Carrie movie would be, and they should cast me, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So A24,
hey,
help me live my dream. I want to be in an A24 movie so bad.
Pearl was wonderful. You need to now do Carrie. Yeah, seriously, like they could totally like rock this out. So I agree. Gosh, yeah, it's such a good song. And yeah, like a music video. So interesting. I thought like I don't know why I was seeing like a animation for this.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, like this kind of like this whole animation of this girl like walking through, maybe even like of a person drawing it out. And then the animation comes to life, which is very 80s. But I kind of felt like almost like the person drawing in the book at school, kind of. And then having the animation either bring them into the book or having them pull things out from the book. just like, I don't know, like when you draw in high school and junior high on in your things and doodle, it kind of reminds me of that as an escape from the reality that they're around.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also could see it as like this memory book of this person who's all grown up now, kind of like looking through something like their time during high school and kind of reflecting on it. And then you go into the book and like the story comes to life. So I could kind of see either one kind of going that way.
That's a really cool concept.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, I kind of like this. I can totally see it happening that way. And I just was kind of curious, like, how much of Carrie is in here and how much of you is in here? Is this all Carrie, or is Carrie a reflection of you?
I mean, I will say, and I have taken those like personality tests before where you get like those like characters. I have gotten her before and I was like, this makes sense. But I've always felt like I relate to her because of her upbringing. Like my mom was like really strict and like kind of emotionally abusive growing up, and I mean, we're totally good now. But as a child, she was just very like, she kind of put me in a box and she kind of controlled me and told me like what I am and what I should be doing. And I like didn't fit in at school. And so I really relate to like that side of her. And I relate to like being like the outcast. And I did actually grow up Catholic, not to the point where she was like, she's obviously like really, really religious. Like I wouldn't be saying prayers every day. Like I did go to Sunday school and everything. But I actually wrote this song because I was up for the role of Carrie. And I wanted to write it as an exercise just to kind of like be ready for the callback and like really understand my interpretation of her, which is a great thing to do if you're up for a character. And then I fell in love with it because I was like, oh my God, like, and I was like Googling to see if anyone else has written like a tell song about Carrie before. No, and there's been like a couple people that like tried, but like there hasn't been. And I just thought it was a really, really cool concept. And I was like, let me actually finish the song when I started writing it. But yeah, I would say like there's parts that like I relate to, but it was very specific to like her and kind of my interpretation of her to like be prepared for like this callback that I had.
I love that. And I'm so glad you said that because I ask actors this all the time. And I do think it's important, like to find a song that like brings out some sort of emotion. And the fact that you were auditioning for like and getting called back for this role and then writing a song to kind of almost do your character analysis is just amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's a great exercise. I highly recommend it, especially if it's like a dark, backstory. It's
totally.
really, really cool.
Yeah, I did that with one of the songs that I don't know if it's coming. No, it's not coming out this year. It's going to come out next year. But I have a song called Fire that I did that with, but it's based on a book or like a short story that I read. And it hit me so hard that I loved it so much that like I had to write a song about it. So I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's good. It's great to do that. And I love like like I said, when actors bring out a song, there's a song, I forget the name of it, but it's like, there's a song that I use to cry, like when I need to cry, but it's like, it's a really good song about dancing, but anyway,
it's like the sad vibe.
But it's got that sad vibe. It's like, I think it's called Lights On. Forget the name of the person, but it's beautiful. You just reminded me of it.
Cool.
But I love that.
Yeah, but I think it's such a cool thing to like write. I've always wanted to write a song like with a character's name because I find people do that a lot. Like Olivia wrote a song called Lacey. There's a song called Jolene. Boy Genius did a song called Emily, I'm Sorry, which actually that's the song that inspired it. It was like having the sympathy in the chorus for like, I'm so sorry, like it's my fault. And then obviously my thing in Carrie was like, it's not your fault. You're just misunderstood and no one understands you and you're just hurting is basically like, but yeah, I always wanted to write a name song. So it was cool how this one came to be.
I love it. And it's so great. And it's so universal and it's so 80s rific. And
thank you.
I cannot wait for people to hear it. And it's released now, right?
Yeah, it came out on the anniversary of the movie when it was released.
You have performed a lot in 2023. And it's like so exciting to see it, like especially as a singer-songwriter. So you've done like performances at like Pete's Candy Store, which I saw you at, Rockwood Music Hall. And so for singer-songwriters in New York, how would they go about booking their own shows? Like, this is the part where we educate to help our community. So
Awesome. Yeah, you basically just reach out to these venues. Like my sister is also a singer-songwriter, and she's been doing this way longer than I have. So I kind of asked her, like, how do you book venues? Because I thought it was a very like gatekeeping process, but you really just like DM these people. And then once, they're familiar with you, you'll have other venues reach out to you. Like I've had venues reach out to me, and I'm like, I don't even know how they found me, because I literally feel like a nobody artist in the city. But yeah, you basically just reach out. I feel like it's all about networking. And the New York City Musicians group and Facebook is especially really, really great, because people will post all the time when they're looking for an opener, or if they're looking for someone to play at Rockwood or Bowery or whatever. Like definitely joining those groups is also a good way to find gigs.
That's amazing. That was like a huge theme of the end of 2023 for me, was connection. Like connecting with people is so important.
I don't love it because social anxiety, but networking is important.
Yes, I think there's a way of doing it, because I feel like networking has such like a negative, like sleazy connotation these days. But I do think that there is a way to genuinely do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You've also have like all these amazing tools that you've used online, because I was Googling you when I was getting ready for all of this. And I saw you have reviews of your music on Pop Passion Blog, Clout, Medium, EDM Records, Indie Boulevard, Bloom Play has your lyrics. So like, how could a fellow singer-songwriter get onto these blogs and websites to promote their own music?
Yeah, there's this amazing website that my friend Connor told me about. It's called Muso Soup, like miso soup, but with a U. And you pay like, I think like $20 or something, and to submit a release. And then like all these blogs and like companies, if they're interested, will reach out to you. And it does like cost money sometimes. But it is a great way to network. And it's really exciting too, because like a lot of these, like I was featured on this like LA magazine, which like some of the artists that I like that are like major artists did interview. So it's cool, like when you're on a platform that like other artists you listen to are on. Like it's very, very, very cool. I also recommend Reverb Nation, which is how I landed my Fader feature, which that was the highlight of this year. That was crazy.
What's a Fader feature?
Well, the Fader is this huge music magazine. Like it's like one of the top music magazines. And I actually found out about them this year. And they were on my like manifestation list of like blogs I want to be featured on. And I got one of them. But they're huge. They cover like all of the news and music and like new artists, and like all this stuff, like all the best songs. And I applied for their like feature on Reverb Nation, which is a great website because it's free. And when you get these submissions and you get selected, it's free. You don't have to pay them anything. And you're like literally working with people in the industry. It's very, very cool. So Reverb Nation, there is a lot of competition on there. I don't know if I'm ever going to get one again from them. Like, I think it was just lucky. But Reverb Nation is a great website. No, because literally I had so many people, they're like, how did you get on the Fader? Like the fuck? And I was like, I just submitted and they liked my song Crying to CVS. I don't know.
It's a great song.
Oh, thank you.
I have the t-shirt still. Like we use it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, congratulations, because that's a huge feat. And like, not to knock yourself, you have great music. So I don't think they're just going to pick someone randomly.
I know. I feel like there's so many like types of these like sad indie folk singer-songwriter girlies. Like there's every time I'm on TikTok, I'm seeing one after the other, and I'm just like, is mine really sticking out? Like it's all blending together. I don't know. I also compare myself to everyone, so like that's my fault.
Well, it clearly stuck out, and everyone's art is beautiful. So what's to say that yours isn't also?
Well, thank you. It was really, really cool to be. I mean, the Fader's huge, like, like industry, top industry.
And so like, my next question then is like, did you release, when you released the song, did Fader was it before you released the song? Was it right after? Was this like much further after? Because I know some places they really want you to um, give them a demo before it's even released, so that they have the opportunity to write. So like, was your experience with that particular place like, oh, you released the song and then it was immediate, or it was before it was released? Like, how did that work for you?
So basically for Reverb Nation, you submit one of your songs to these like features. Like it could be a radio feature, it could be a magazine feature, like all these big companies. And I think I don't think I submitted Nashville. I think I submitted County CBS because that was like the highlight of the article. And so you basically just submit one song, and then I think they listen to a couple of your other songs once you are selected. But that was like the focus song. So yeah, you basically just submit one song, and then if they like that song, I think they listen to other songs as well to get like a more variety of what you have out.
Yeah. And was the song released like months before, or was like, had you already released the song?
No, that song is old. That song came out in November 20, what year is it? November 2022. And I got the feature this summer.
Wow. Okay. So it's been like
almost 2 years old
of it being out, like being released. Cool. Yeah. Because I was always under the impression, and I guess it's just from the things that I've seen, like, and it probably is by a case basis, like this song needs to be released or it needs to not be released and I want to hear it. So yeah. So that's great. So just look at the submission stuff and see what they're doing. And you can submit an older song.
Yeah.
Okay, last question before we close this out. What is Tiny Desk?
Oh, it's a dream. Basically it is this really cool opportunity that a lot of indie artists get, where I think it's in California. I'm gonna guess it's in LA. But it's like this cute little, it looks like a classroom, honestly. But basically you get to do a little like mini concert on YouTube, and they call it Tiny Desk because it's like, I think they have like a tiny desk or something, but it's like this like little room, and you get to do like a mini little concert, and it's a lot of people's dream because it's a big deal in the industry. And it's a chance to like really sing your stuff live. And I think singing your stuff live is so much different than being in the studio, because in the studio you're basically perfecting everything, making everything sound a certain way, but when you're singing your stuff live you can change it up. And a lot of big artists have done Tiny Desks, like Taylor Swift did one. Olivia Rodrigo just did her second one. I love watching them because I think that there's nothing like live instruments and live vocals, and it just gives people a space to sing their music. And sometimes they pick new artists, sometimes they do major artists, but yeah, it seems like a great community to be a part of, and I hope that I get to do one day.
Yeah, I mean, I watched your submission tape; it was wonderful. So I'm
thank you.
Sending great vibes to you.
Thanks.
All right, well,
I have to get my next one ready because I think the new entry is coming up in the spring. So,
well, maybe you should come over and we'll do that together.
Oh, I'd love that.
We could do like a whole thing. It'll be fun. We'll put it on the podcast, on the Instagrams and the TikToks, and everyone can see what we're doing. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all the time. And I'm so excited that you're my first guest for this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then as a new tradition that I want to start, I would love for the closing thought to be a lyric or lyrics from a song that you think would help people right now, and something that helps you feel good in your life.
Okay. This is always a hard question because I'm such a lyric person, but sometimes I just forget them and I'm like, what are those words?
Oh, I get you.
But I feel like a really feel-good artist that I used to listen to a lot growing up and that I wish was still making music is Natasha Bedingfield. And she wrote one of these most amazing songs, which has like these like driving down with the windows vibes and screaming. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can let it for you. Only you can let it in, which to me is just like, be yourself and really like accept like where you are, who you are, because no one else can be you except yourself, is how I interpret that.
I love that. That's a wonderful lyric. Well, thank you again, Maria, for being here. I'm so excited. Everyone, please go check out Maria's song, Carrie White, and please go check out Traveler's Lament. It's releasing on January 31st, 2024. All right.
Yay, thank you so much.
Wandering around with the lights on.